So good afternoon. It's lovely to see you all here today. My name is Janet Whitley. I'm from Collective Leadership for Scotland. And it's lovely to see you as part of our themed weeks that we've been offering over these last 8 weeks. The theme at present is Leading in Unknowing. And the intention behind these theme weeks is really to create an opportunity for people to get together, to connect, and to do some learning together, particularly recognising that time is very often short for us at this time, and that it's important to create that time together to really do that learning on the things that are important. So with that in mind, leading in unknowing feels like a very pertinent topic. So it's great to have so many colleagues here with us today. So without any further introduction, I'm delighted to introduce our host for this session, who is Martin Kalungu-Banda, who'll take us through the session today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Janet, and welcome everyone to session 3. And like we have done in the past, there will be moments when I give some input, not because it is the only truth or it's the truth. It is just a perspective to allow us to think together, to reflect together. May I invite us to just take one moment to sort of land and arrive in this session, as it were, to make a deliberate break from all the other important responsibilities we have had until this moment. So take a moment to arrive, maybe 2 deep breaths to simply allow you to be here and now. Welcome. This afternoon, we will continue our conversation on systems thinking and how that helps us to respond in order to see deeper layers of the challenge or opportunity we face, in order not to practice the habit of digging one hole in order to bury another, but that we have a broader perspective as we attend to complex, fast-moving challenges before us. Like we have done in the past, I will show you some slides. We will then move into trios, small groups, to deepen our reflection. Come back into plenary to hear from your thought processes, your questions, and any one of us could respond to those questions. So here are my reflection slides for today. You remember when I talked about systems thinking in either session 1 or 2, I showed this slide of the iceberg, that some of the critical challenges we are facing in our time are: 1, ecological divide, that artificial separation we create between ourselves and nature. 2, social divide, The other, artificial separation of self from others. And 3, the spiritual divide, which is the separation of self from self. And you may recall that I talked about the tips of the iceberg being the usual 10% or less that we see in an iceberg in any problem that we face, and that 90% of the challenge is not visible. It is below the waterline. That's what makes an iceberg dangerous. In leadership, it's acquiring the skills to see not only the 10%, but what is below the waterline. And we said it's the structures we have created, which are not an act of nature. We humans create them. And that structures come from our patterns of thinking, and that our thoughts are anchored on our fundamental beliefs and values. So real change work is about inquiring into the structures we have, the thought patterns we have, and relooking at the fundamental beliefs and values that drive us. This afternoon, I would like to take that a little further by sharing with you systems thinking tool with the term Ubuntu. This is an African term which has, in some sense, become a global term because people can recognize elements of that with ease. Ubuntu as an approach to life simply means the following. It is a way of life which simply means I am because you are. Another way of saying that is my well-being and happiness are inextricably intertwined or linked with your well-being and happiness. In Ubuntu philosophy, you do not see how one individual can claim success if another person is not successful. And by your well-being is not just meant another person's well-being or another community's well-being. It is also the well-being of something beyond, inclusive of, but something beyond just humans. Ubuntu is about the primacy of community without neglecting the importance of the individual. In Ubuntu way of life, there is some sense in which the individual finds themselves within the context of community, that I can't be fully human if I'm not functioning within community. The individual needs community in order to be fully human. It means in Ubuntu philosophy, competition is not the lifeblood of society, as has been taught to us by classical economics. And it simply means cooperation and interdependence are actually the lifeblood of society. Look around, all the great things we admire around us, within us. Much of that will come as a result of cooperation and interdependence rather than just a game of competition. So, in Ubuntu philosophy, life and existence are interconnected. That's why the past, the present, and the future are seen as one. I am influenced by the past. I am living in the present moment. Let me not close my eyes to that. And the future has its impact on me. In Ubuntu philosophy, those who have gone before us, our ancestors, have an impact upon us. And a friend of mine in Oxford recently wrote a book, and I think it will be coming online soon, which speaks to this for me. The title of the book is How to Be a Good Ancestor. If you think of the value of you being held in good stead, even long after you have gone, you will worry about what it means to be a good ancestor. Those yet to be born matter, and they impose obligations on us who are living in this moment. Across cultures, people don't just live by themselves, for themselves. They worry about their children and their children's children and their grandchildren's grandchildren, who they will never have a chance of seeing. And in Ubuntu philosophy, nature is not something to be conquered. Nature is the womb in which we are crafted and sustained. This is why many traditional wisdoms refer to nature as Mother Nature. Because we do realize how our well-being and existence are determined by the well-being of our environment, the natural environment. And we have seen the consequences of not paying attention to that. So I shared this concept of Ubuntu so that we can see whether it can permeate the way we design different aspects of life. Maybe it's the way we design our agriculture systems that protect and promote the well-being of Mother Nature and not create an agro system that kills Mother Nature in the process with chemicals and irresponsible harvesting of what she offers. Maybe the philosophy of Ubuntu could help us to build an education system that promotes the values of interdependence, honesty, and the utter respect for one another and nature. How can we build such an education system? Could Ubuntu philosophy help us to create a healthcare system that serves the well-being of all, not only those with money? Maybe it is helpful in building an economic system anchored on cooperation rather than competition. An economic system that serves everyone, that never leaves anyone behind, and that honors our interdependence on Mother Nature. I guess the summation of that is simply, in Ubuntu philosophy, winning together is possible. To win, you don't have to have a loser. It's a false concept we have created. Winning has to have someone who has lost. It's possible for all to win. when we learn to respect and care for those in our work teams, in our organizations, in our families and communities, in different parts of our country where we don't live, also in other countries where we might not even live. We respect nature. Winning together is possible. It is what creates balance in the natural environment. So I wanted to offer that as a way of reflecting how systems are interconnected, that everything I do needs to enable me see what else is impacted by that. By seeing the larger whole, I am likely to make different decisions from those I would make when I'm only seeing in a tunnel. The capacity to see the wider field. I am pretty sure many of you have seen the movie The Legend of Bhagavans. If you have, I invite you to see that moment when the coach Bhagavans and the golfer Juna are having a conversation about seeing the field. And if you haven't seen that, it is short enough for you to pick what's going on. So the entire movie is based on a golfer who lost his swing. Like any ambitious young person, Juna had dreams. He was an upcoming golfer of reputation. Then his country went to war. Like other young men in his country, he enlisted for the military. He went with the hope that they will go and be victorious, come back home as celebrities. It doesn't work that way. They come back beaten. And in the process, he lost his swing for golf. But somehow there is need for a local person to compete. And the young man you see in between the two men there finds Juna the golfer and he brings him back. I would like you to pay attention to Bhagavans. It could be a real coach in your life. It could be a voice within you. But they're having a conversation about seeing the field. What happens when we truly see the field? And here is the short video.
I think it's time.
Time for what?
Time for you to see the field.
The field? I see the field, but it's 445 yards long. It's got a little red flag at the end of it. It's 12 strokes ahead of me. Come on.
That ain't it. Because if you seen the field, you wouldn't be hacking at that ball like you was chopping weeds out from under your front porch.
Just give me the club.
Sorry I bring it up. Here, you want to take that hack away.
All right, what's the field?
Fix your eyes on Bobby Jones.
He's a piece of work here right now. Well, give the man room. Man room. Knock it out there, Bobby.
Look at his practice swing. Almost like it's searching for something. Then he finds it. Watch how he settle himself right into the middle of it. Feel that focus. And he got a lot of shots he could choose from. Duffs and tops and skulls. But there's only one shot that's in perfect harmony with the field. One shot that's his. Authentic shot. And that shot is going to choose him. There's a perfect shot out there trying to find each and every one of us. All we got to do is get ourselves out of its way. Let it choose us. Look at him. He in the field. You can't see that flag as some dragon you got to slay. You have to look with soft eyes. See the place where the tides and the seasons and the turning of the earth all come together. Where everything that is becomes one. You got to seek that place with your soul, Junior. Seek it with your hands. Don't think about it. Feel it. Your hands is wiser than your head ever gonna be. Now, I can't take you there, Junior. Just hopes I can help you find a way. It's just you, that ball, that flag, and all you are. Seek it with your hands. Don't think about it. Feel that looking focus. At it, Junior. Feel it. It's just there's you. Only one shot that's in perfect harmony. You don't see it. It's the home of your authentic swing. That flag and all that you are.
Blind squirrel finds an acorn now and then, Bobby.
You have to see the field with soft eyes. Moments of disruption ask us to see our reality with soft eyes. And that we have to feel it. It's not enough to reason our way out of disruption. Yes, that's part of the deal, but it's also time to switch on our capacity to sense through our feelings and to trust that there are moments when our hands are wiser than our heads can be. See the field with soft eyes. I will request Verena to send us into groups of 3 or so with a question around what Ubuntu and seeing the field could mean for your leadership. Come back. So, like we have done in the past, this is space for us to share some of the reflections we have had in the small groups. You can voice that. Verena, Janet, Dot, and myself will try and see your hand if you are waving electronic or the real one. And if you feel like putting some of the reflections in the chat, just go to that icon at the bottom of your screen, chat, and then type your reflections and thoughts there. But we would also love to hear a few voices in plenary.
A couple of things that jump out from the chat. Wilma says that perhaps there's something in this about intuition rather than facts and knowledge. And there's one or two other people, I think Susan's come back and said that maybe intuition plays a part in what's going on. And there's also Douglas that says, is there something spiritual about the field that's part of the concept and part of the experience that's maybe not being discussed here?
So seeing the field is an essential and necessary quality of leadership, to be able to see the larger whole, its breadth and depth. If you saw at the moment when Jonah, the golfer, started seeing the field, he saw slightly more than just the ball and the hole in which he was aiming to put the ball. He began to see the environment around. He started noticing the birds, the clouds. The weather was part of the configuration. Golfers in real life tell the same story. That when they do, I never say this correctly, maybe it's one in hole or hole in one. When they do that, it's because they have taken into account a lot of aspects and they know the movement of the ball. In education, for example, in some societies, as you know, particularly when we take the example again of Finland, they do the contrary of what most societies do. When there is a problem child in school, what do? We remove the resources from that child in order to focus on the children that are doing well. In Finland, they have learned it's doing the other way around. When there is a child who is having challenges, what do? They mobilize the resources more than usual around that child. The logic is that this child needs help now. And if we come to the aid of this child early enough, we will help to solve the complex problems that will come from an adult who is not able to take care of themselves. So investing in the right places in order to build future capacity. This can be done in healthcare system. This can be done in housing. This can be done in everything that we are doing around us. The ability for leaders such as yourselves to see the larger whole instead of functioning from a very focused tunnel. It may look efficient, but it doesn't pay long-term systemic dividends. There is any one more comment from you, Janet? Could be from Dottie and any other persons before we begin to close. Please feel free to do so.
I don't think there is quite a bit in the chat room, but I think it's possibly something that we can share afterwards and get a conversation afterwards. I think that's probably all we can cover just now.
Once again, thank you for your sharing, for your generosity and listening. Hopefully we can continue to the next session. When will that be, Janet?
Yes, sorry. Yeah, the next session is next Thursday. And so the next session is about self as instrument. And it's on Thursday, the 25th of June, and that's at 10 o'clock. And there are still places available if anybody's interested to sign up. And we should also say that we are recording the sessions. So if there's anything that you've missed as we've been working our way through, you can find the information on our website. So thank you very much. And just to add my thanks to Martin and everyone for participating today.
Thank you.